Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening around the world. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Blackjack. Today, as always, I'll be doing a YouTube deck tech from the comment section for you guys. If you're interested in having me put a deck together for you or help you tweak a list you're trying to work on, I'm looking for any of the 5 metrics in the comment section. A bracket, a budget, a theme, a commander, and any pet cards you might have. I'll also leave a link to join the Discord down below. It's an easy place for you to drop your deck list off and have me work on. Today, we have a request from the user Mathguy, who is looking for something after my own heart, a Sakashima slash Ikra Shidiki Infinite Dark Depths Jutsu deck. This is a deck that is looking to create multiple Dark Depths every single turn of the game and eventually overwhelm your opponent with 2020 indestructible flyers. Pretty cool, pretty interesting, and I do enjoy a good land deck, so I was happy to build it. This is Ikra Sakashima. So the other option was Sidar Kondo, which is green-white. I went with Ikra because I actually think its ability is relevant for us, and black cards are just better, so it is what it is. Ikra, 3 colorless, a black and a green for a 3/7 with menace. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, gain life equal to that creature's toughness. Sakashima is the star of the show here. 3 colorless and a blue for a 3/1. You can have it enter the battlefield as a copy of another creature, except it has Sakashima of a Thousand Faces other abilities. The legend rule doesn't apply to permanents you control. That is the most important part of either commander you have. The legend rule doesn't apply to permanents you control. Merit Lage is a 2020 legendary flying indestructible creature. So, you're only ever going to deploy Sakashima after you've created Merit Lage. You are, throughout the entire game, never going to cast this commander until you have created Merit Lage. There's no reason to invest in it at any other point in the game. There's no reason to bring it down earlier. There's no reason to build up commander tax on it. Just let it sit in the command zone until you've created your first Merit Lage. Then get it down, so that way you are creating a creature that has no legendary rule applied to it, and then you can start making multiple a turn. So the name of the game here is making a ton of land drops, getting extra land drops per turn, searching your library for a bunch of lands, and then buying yourself time with things like Ikra to give yourself some life. Oko is just here to buy time. It's one of the best removal spells in the game. It was banned in many formats for a reason. Turning somebody else's commander into an elk with no abilities is incredibly powerful. AC for card draw and land drops. Aftermath Analyst to get your lands back from the graveyard. Ancient Green Warden to play lands from the graveyard. It's very important that we get to play lands from the graveyard because every time we make a Merit Lage, we are usually getting rid of the Dark Depths from play, which means we have to redeploy it immediately in order to continue doing it. Auton Soldier, it's probably your best payoff in the deck. I had one free slot, and I think it was either between this or Amulet of Vigor. I think Amulet of Vigor and this are both very, very good in this slot, and I think both have warrant in their abilities, but this one just seemed more fun. So this is basically a Sakashima that creates a Dark Depths with Myriad. So every time you attack one opponent, it's creating 2 more Merit Lages that are attacking your other 2 opponents, which I thought was really funny. So that's why I chose it. But if you wanted to play the strictly better card, I think Amulet of Vigor is probably better. I'll put it in the considering for you. Dry to the Elysian Grove for extra land drops, Elvish Reclaimer to search for specific lands, Ice Till's extra land drops, plus lands from your graveyard, Loot extra land drops, Lotus Cobra for more mana, Oracle extra land drops, Azusa extra land drops, Ramanarap, play lands out of your graveyard, Sakura Tribuilder for a little bit of ramp. We'll get to that in a minute. Scoot Swarm. There are a couple creatures in here that are just good on their own and can win the game. Scoot Swarm, given enough time, will eventually just win the game without a board wipe. Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath, can swing the game and make the game around him if he is out for a long enough time. Tatiova for card draw. Gitrog for more land goodness. Timeless Witness, because you can buy it back out of the graveyard. Uvenwald Hydra to search for a specific land, and Wayward Swordtooth for extra land drops. More of our ramp section, so we have Sakura Tribuilder, Cultivate, Farseek, Kodama's Reach, Nature's Lore, Rampant Growth, Shared Roots, 3 Visits. We also have Arcane Signet, Felwar Stone, Soul Rain, so that is 11. We are playing more than that if you include things like Hour of Promise, but we do have 11 dedicated pieces, and then we have some filler pieces that allow you to find specific lands. So the combo, I think most people probably know, but if you don't, Dark Depths, it enters with 10 ice counters on it. You can pay 3 mana to remove an ice counter. When it has no ice counters on it, sacrifice it. If you do, make the 2020 flying legendary indestructible creature. So you're never going to ideally be dropping this by 1 counter per turn with 3 mana. You're going to combine this with Thespian Stage. So basically, if you have both of these out, you activate Thespian Stage to become a copy of Dark Depths. Thespian Stage will become a copy. They will be legendary, so you'll have to sacrifice one. You'll sacrifice the real Dark Depths. The Thespian Stage Dark Depths will trigger and realize it has no ice counters on it, and then sacrifice itself to make Merit Lage. So you're usually losing 2 lands every time you do this, so it's really important that you have extra land drops to make every turn, and you always have the ability to play lands out of your graveyard, so you can redeploy these and continue going. But more often than not, those will be the lands I'd recommend you search for. Dig Up to search for lands, Nylea's Intervention, Hour of Promise, Scape Shift, Sylvan Scrying, all of these are ways to dig for certain lands. Life from the Loam will allow you to dredge and get lands back. Villainous Wealth is your secret win condition. There are a lot of X spells that are really good in a deck like this. You could play Exsanguinate, Torment of Hail of Fire, things like that. Villainous Wealth is the least atrocious one, at least in the eyes of opponents usually. It's a lot more enjoyable for the table for you to Villainous Wealth somebody for 30 and win the game that way versus making them Torment of Hailfire 30 times. Both don't feel great, but one of them I think is a little bit less feel bad than the other, and I think this is just a cool and interesting way to win the game. Archdruid's Charm to search for a specific land, as well as Crop Rotation, Elemental Teaching, Entomb, and Realms Uncharted will all allow you to search for specific lands. Entomb, you can either get a specific land or you can also go get your Life from the Loam. Life from the Loam is one of the best engines in a deck like this to continue to dredge and fill up your graveyard with land drops to make. Constant Mists is an incredibly powerful spell. You can buy this back by sacrificing a land. Creatures deal no combat this turn. Normally, it's only one opponent who's putting on pressure, maybe two, but usually it's just one person who's recognizing that you're an issue and actually has a bunch of creatures to put pressure on you and try to take you out of the game. So being able to just simply fog their combat and then buy it back by sacking a land and then replaying that land is essentially, an infinite way for you to buy time. It's incredibly powerful. Dark Ritual as a one-off effect to get some more mana. We already went over some of the ramp. We have Conduit of Worlds, Crucible of Worlds, both ways to buy lands out of the graveyard. Expedition Map to find a specific land. Like I said, if you wanted to cut the Auton Soldier and play Amulet of Vigor, I think it would be good here, but I did put that into the considering slot. The One Ring, great way to draw cards, utilize the life that you're gaining, and give yourself a little bit of time and protection. This is a bracket 3 deck, so we have the One Ring, we have Crop Rotation, and then um, our final piece here is Glacial Chasm. We'll get to that in a minute. Burgeoning for extra land drops, Case of the Locked Hothouse for extra land drops, Exploration, And then you have Walk-in Closet to play lands out of the graveyard. Glacierwood Siege can play lands out of the graveyard. Sylvan Library and Phyrexian Arena as some good consistent card draw and ways for you to utilize that life that you're gaining. And then Ripples of Undeath is another way for you to mill cards and get specific lands back, at least out of the ones you milled. 41 lands here total. So when it comes to a lands deck, and the reason we're playing so many lands is, again, you always want to be able to play multiple lands every turn, either from your hand, from the top of your library, or from your graveyard. If you can deploy at least 2 lands a turn, you are going to be ahead of the team, or not the team, but ahead of the table long term. So a lot of these are utility-based lands that can do things for you in particular situations, and when you're playing these spells that allow you to go and search for any specific land you want, you can obviously go find your Dark Depths and your Thespian Stage, but if you already have that, there are a lot of other utility lands that you might be interested in getting. Alchemist Refuge allows you to operate at flash speed, besage you to deal with stuff on the board. We do have Cabal Coffers and Urborg to generate a bunch of mana. So again, if you end up going with that Villainous Wealth secret game plan, dumping 30 into the X and just winning the game outright with something like that can be really fun. Dakmor Salvage is another way to dredge. Echoing Deeps can copy something in your graveyard. Foreboding Landscape is a on color, really bad, but still a fetch land. We are playing 3 forests, 3 islands, and 1 swamp, so it's typically enough for you to search for basic lands and shuffle your deck and kind of keep things moving, keep lands in your graveyard, and the ability to play more. You could obviously play something like Windswept Teeth or Wooded Foothills or something, and it would be probably better. I don't like playing off-color fetch lands. I don't know why. It's just how I feel. So I would play this over something like that. Glacial Chasm, if you don't know what this card does, cumulative upkeep, 2 life, so you have to pay 2 life basically every turn cumulatively. You cannot attack. All damage dealt to you is reduced to 0. So this basically completely locks up the board. It disables the ability for you to die via combat damage. You do have to sack a land when it comes into play, but again, if you can play 2-3 lands a turn, you can just let this go every upkeep so it never has the cumulative upkeep get bigger, and then you can just redeploy it and still end up positive on your land drops. So this is a extremely powerful way for you to kind of lock the board up. Lotus Field for mana. Then we have a few ways to make more mana here. Shifting Woodland to copy something out of the graveyard. Thespian Stage is one of your main combos. The Urborg, the Urza's Cave to search your library for a land. This is cool because you can play this out of your graveyard with a lot of your cards. So this will eventually allow you to get pretty much all of your utility lands. Urza's Saga is a great way for you to gum up the board, as well as go and find your Expedition map, your Soul Rain, or if you do put it in, your Amulet of Vigor. Vesuva to copy a land. Um, yeah, that should be about it. A deck like this, I always enjoy probably more than almost any other deck in Commander. I think land matters decks are really fun to play, extremely battle cruiser style. It takes a while for you to get going, but once you do, it's just a mass of unstoppable force. So please let me know how it plays out. Enjoy making your flying 2020 indestructible Merit Age tokens and beating your friends to death. Thank you so much for watching. As always, Godspeed.